our lecture, the first lecture about cancer immunotherapy. I told you, and I will be sharing with you guys that if there is a cure in the near future, if there is a short-term solution of cancer in the near future, it will come from this area. That is the cancer immunotherapy. It's about using our own immune cells to fight against the disease which we call as cancer. But before I proceed further with the treatment and technology and the theme behind that technique, because if you understand the theme, you might be able to apply or investigate further as well. My job is to help you guys to sense and smell that area. And then it is your choice whether you like to explore further or not. If you feel it, kuch hota hai, please proceed further and try to investigate more at your own. Give yourself a time and chance to live in this area for a week or so. So I will going to cover two fronts. The first, that is about the what is cancer. So if we understand the cancer, that will give us a more wonderful, a little bit more, wisdom than normal to understand how we will going to cure it. Because the real bottleneck in the disease is usually misunderstood. Because many people believe cancer is a sort of disease like other diseases we experience in our lives. There are two types of diseases out there which we are experiencing. One type of disease having an external factor. It has external reasons, infectious agents, bacteria, microorganisms, toxins, those. They can make you sick, by the way. I can tell you one message. They can make you sick as well. We have external reasons to get sick, physical reasons to get sick. Ganda pani, bad food, but then there are reasons of natural wear and tear. Like every other machinery and like every other machine, our cells are made up of certain small machineries. Of course, they are machineries at a molecular level, but they are machineries. Every physical material has a certain life. The natural wear and tear is a universal constant for every material. If I purchase something today, like a cup of a mug of coffee, I will not be able to use the same thing in the same way after a year or so, because the natural wear and tear, lot of materials will not going to work in the same efficient way. The same logic is applicable to all corners of our cells as well. There are proteins out there, cell membrane out there, DNA, nucleus, structures, blah, 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 blah things. All these things, they are made up, it's like a physical stuff, machinery. So because of the natural wear and tear over the period of time, the same machinery will not be able to execute the same function in the same efficiency. The efficiency will be lower, naturally, whether you like it or not. Natural wear and tear. That will it will be like the control over your cellular machinery will be reduced over the period of time due to natural wear and tear. In other words, it is called as aging. So one sort of diseases are related to our aging process. Now, if you ask me, sir, there is a pill for this type of disease? Is there any pill for this type of disease to avoid this type of disease? What you can do with certain types of diseases which are age related. Take example, the other example, for example, cancer is one of the age related disease. It arises because of the natural wear and tear of cells, and that actually lead to the loss on the control of our gene expression. In humans, different cells are executing different functions. The skin cells are entirely different from the mesenchymal cells. They're entirely different from the other type of cells. We are having lots of different types of cells, and that diversity is actually the reason behind all the complicated functions we are doing. So this diversity is maintained because of the difference in the features of all those cells. Skin cells are different, eye cells are different, heart cells are different, and that difference gives us the ability to do all these wonderful things. The difference in the cellular phenotypes, although they are coming from the same cell, although they are coming from the one cell zygote, although each cell is coming with the same DNA sequence, हम ये भी नहीं कह सकते that between the humans the sequence of DNA might be different. The answer is yes. But what about within the human? Within the human, the sequence should not be different at all. 100% same base pairs in all cells. So how about, and how fascinating is to feel that trillions of cells present in our body in so many different types are doing entirely unrelated different functions from each other, but having the same codes and exactly same sequence and coming from the same cell. This diversity and this complexity or this difference arises from a common ground, and that common ground is called as the DNA. It's like the alphabets of life, like an alphabet in any language. The alphabets, you put them together in different sequences to make words, then put those words together to make statements, lines, and paragraphs, and then you can write a book. The same alphabets will be able to create lots of different types of, descriptions and thoughts and all sorts of things, good and bad. Bad things, bad informations, they're also made of words. But the sequence is different. The placements of those words are different, and they just ended up in a bad information. So the difference in all those different type of cells arises from a common coding sequences. There arises from the common DNA, the same DNA. So the same DNA is able to execute all these different functions because nature has created a way that how we can use the same DNA in different ways. It's about using the same DNA, using the same alphabets in different combinations to create different statements and different paragraphs and different books. It's about using the same piano keys to produce different tunes by hitting and clicking on the same keys in different combinations. That gives rise to this diversity of the cells. So if you ask me that why we have a different types of cells, although we are carrying 100% similar sequence of DNA, we are using the same sequence in different way in different types of cells, and that eventually lead to different phenotypes and different cell types. So there is something which we call as control of gene expression. We call it control of gene expression, and that defines the outcome and destiny of every cell. In a normal way, that should create all the possible cell types which should create humans. But what if the loss? What if there is a loss in control? In controlling the expression of genes? What if the ability of the cells to control the expression is decreased over the period of time? What will happen? The cells' patterns of expression, gene expression will be changed. The cell's phenotype will be different, and the cells will going to be different. If a cell is supposed to be epithelial, it is part of the breast epithelial cells. It is supposed to express a certain combination of genes. That is why it is an epithelial cell. That is why it is different from the mesenchymal cells. But with the period of time, because of natural wear and tear, if the cell started losing control on the expression, the natural ability to control the things will be decreased, and the cell will start having are dysregulated patterns of expression of genes. And what will happen? That will going to change the destiny of that cell. That will going to change the fate of the cell, the phenotype of the cell. The epithelial cell will no longer be an epithelial cell after that. And that is what we call as the cancer. This is not all. I mean, you can ask me, is natural wear and tear is a factor which we can avoid. We can't avoid. That is why I'm using it. But there might be some built-in problems out there, you know? There might be some built-in problems out there. If the built-in problems are there, what will happen? You can guess. The loss in the control of gene expression will appear earlier. If somebody having a built-in problem, that means that error might appear at the time of birth, in few years after the birth, in 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. But let's suppose, theoretically speaking, if you are having no built-in errors, even then the natural wear and tear will take you to a state where ultimately you will going to have a less control on that. ये वाला state कब आएगा? That state will come in Pakistan from 60 to 70 years, actually 50 to 60 years. We usually lose control on the expression patterns of our cells at that time. That means this is like an average age we are getting. And that state will come in 100 years. If you're living in China, South Korea, or Japan, or in some Scandinavian countries, 100 years. Because they will going to lose the same control in 100 years. Their average life is better. There was a question I usually ask to my students about the prevalence of disease in different countries. This is quite a simple slide. You can figure it out. That breast cancer is one of the most, sab logon ko pata hai. That many cancers are out there. I don't want to talk, but I want you guys to keep thinking on the thesis which I was trying to raise in your mind about the cancer. That will solve a lot of problems for you. And no matter you will be studying in what sort of cancers. This pie chart represents the different reasons of cancer in totality. And look at the things which we believe are not very. There are some direct, inevitable reasons of cancer. Some cancers do have obvious reasons. Lung cancer, they do have, smoking, directly affecting the lungs. Make sense? Liver cancer. They have obvious reasons. Number one, drinking is one of the reasons. You have to utilize a lot of lactate dehydrogenase. Alcohol को metabolize करने के लिए वो enzymology वालों जागो. Alcohol को metabolize करने के लिए you need enzyme. Liver will have to work hard. That's one thing. The other thing is that hepatitis viruses, they can land into the liver. They can destroy the genes of the liver, and they can trigger the cancers as well. Hepatocarcinoma. So we do have an obvious reason in certain cases, but there are certain cancers we don't have any reasons. Obvious reason, like breast cancer. There's nothing I can tell you that you khate hain to breast cancer ho jayega, ye khate hain to nahi hoga, na kare. There's nothing like this out there. No obvious direct reasons to connect these cancers. And if you understand the philosophy behind cancer, jo main batane ki koshish karun, that is about natural beauty. The question was that I usually ask to my students that in developed countries, the majority of the people, the ultimate reason of death, the major reason of death in developed countries, the major reason of death in developed countries is cancer. Not in underdeveloped countries, not in Pakistan. In developed countries, the major reason of death is cancer. Tell me why. Quick answers. शाबाश, अपना आपके ख्याल में क्या वजह है? Environment और atmosphere की वजह से. आपको क्या पता है?
Chemicals.
जोर से बोलो. Living patterns का
Higher
फर्क.
exposure to chemicals.
एक मिनट. Online students, please मुझे इनसे लेने मैं आपसे लेता हूँ. Okay? Please get your point ready. जी. Confused. Okay. कोई भी आता है. लाइफस्टाइल की वजह से हो सकता है. लाइफस्टाइल की वजह से. What? Well, lifestyle or working. Drink a lot. Okay. वैसे ये argument नहीं है. I can tell you. The drink a lot people are having more average life than us. We should need to find logical argument. मैं एक दफा इस situation में था. I was like sitting with the people like जो atheist है नहीं मानते हैं बात में. They are drinking and eating pork as well, expecting me to talk on this thing ना. ताकि वो आंसर करें आपकी एवरेज लाइफ 50-60 साल है, हमारी 120 साल है, 100 साल है. आप किस खेत की मूली हैं? आप कैसे कह सकते हैं कि वो हेल्दी है और वो हेल्दी नहीं है? There are other things we need to understand about this. Okay, यही brainstorming है जो आपको करना चाहिए. And when we need to deal with science, we should deal that thing with science. That will be more acceptable, I can tell you, for the rest of the world. जी ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट जल्दी जल्दी क्या वजह ख्याल में आपके ख्याल में आती है?
सर बाकी डिजीज के ट्रीटमेंट है उनके पास अब.
ओके, ये कौन बोल रहा है?
सजाद.
सजाद, ओके. Higher exposure to chemicals. Okay, shabash. I'm happy that some of the students they raise a very interesting point. The developed countries, the major reason of death is cancer because they are not dying for the preventable diseases. If a disease comes from the poor quality of water, they have already controlled it. Preventable infectious diseases से नहीं मर रहे हैं. We are dying major because of the other disease because we are not controlled. We are dying because of preventable. हमारे मुल्क में मलेरिया से लोग मर जाते हैं, निमोनिया से लोग मर जाते हैं, हेपेटाइटिस से लोग मर, preventable versions of disease. तो जो मैं आपके दिमाग में रेस करना चाहता हूँ, that is the point that even if you able to give yourself a 100% perfect hygiene situation, even then there is a factor that is the natural wear and tear of machinery, molecular machinery, that will take you to a state where you will lose. Eventually we will be able. Now when we live in a hygiene or better conditions, and we do not put ourselves into difficult circumstances, we able to utilize the same molecular machinery for a longer period of time. ये बिल्कुल वही बात है. आप और आप में से अक्सर लोग जो है ना ऑर्गेनाइज हैं, माशाल्लाह चीजों को अच्छे से संभालते हैं. You and me if purchase the same cell phone at the same time, you know, 2 हफ्ते के बाद, 1 महीने के बाद आके देखेंगे मेरे वाले सेल फोन में क्या हालत है, आप वाला nicely beautifully placed and all. We can use the same things in a different way. I mean, ये environment की बात बता रहा हूँ. That is what we call as environment. So the people who are living in a better environment, they are not putting their molecular machinery in that. अब अगर आप रोज टॉक्सिक पानी पिएंगे, टॉक्सिक मटेरियल्स इनहेल करेंगे, your kidneys will have to work hard, of course. वो वाली किडनी जिसने 100 साल में जवाब देना था या 120 साल में जवाब देना. I believe that the structure we are carrying, they are good enough to live for thousands of years. I can tell you, thousands of years. This is the ultimate objective of human evolution. That but where we are going. I'm telling you. I'm just giving you a logical reason behind it. The people who are using their resources, means their molecular machinery, in a better way, they're not putting it into trouble. आप एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट इस्तेमाल करते हैं, एक बाइसिकल यूज करते हैं, उसका ध्यान रखते हैं, ख्याल करते हैं, यूज करते हैं, फिर उसका ध्यान रखते हैं, धोते हैं, वॉश करते हैं, ऑयल अच्छी तरह से रखते हैं. You might be able to use it for a long period of time. On the other hand, the other person who is using the same bike but he is not taking care of all these things, maybe चंद महीने के बाद उसकी bike finish. That's what we are doing with our bodies. When we are drinking toxic waters, we are putting our bodies into trouble. We are asking our bodies, we are consuming the resources of our body. Sir, does telomere decreases a lot even if? Oh, जी बिल्कुल सही फरमाया आपने कबीर. ठीक है, तेरे टेलोमियर की ऐसी की तैसी करता हूं मैं अभी आना. Okay, Abir has raised a good point. Telomere is a okay, but I'm not there. Abir, मैं वहां नहीं हूं, मैं किसी और हवाओं में हूं इस टाइम. I wish आप मेरे साथ उड़ रहे हो. I want you to understand the philosophy behind the cancer. These things are very easy. So, if you give the same machinery, better conditions, but what is meant by better conditions? Diet, better water, better environment, less stress. What will happen? you will be able to take this body, the same molecular machinery, for a longer period of time. It's the same reason that why people are not dying before 100 years in those countries. And it's the same reason why we are dying at the age of 50 and 60. It makes sense. Because we have like put the same machinery into a lot of trouble. Environment, water, food, and stress. And all these things are like consuming these resources, and that eventually we lose the control. Now the question is that, so then why, it's a very good question, that why not everyone is dying because of cancer in that case? The answer is that everyone is bound to die because of cancer, if they choose not to die from the other diseases. If you lose the control because of XY, अगर आप किसी भी बीमारी से नहीं खुदा ना खास्ता फौत होंगे, you will eventually die with the cancer, because it's loss of control will be there. But that loss of control, for example, theoretically, in the environment of, for example, Japan, that loss of control will start appearing at the age of 100 years. So, but what if you start putting your body into other troubles? If you're not exercising, if you're not like very much hygiene, if you're not like putting yourself in trouble, you ate something which is not nice, poisonous, toxic, something like that. If you are putting your body into other troubles, that will be a reason of death. So in most of the cases, if you are dying because of the age-related disease, that means you are very good in dealing with other diseases. You did not allow other diseases to kill you. But the persons who are dying out there because of the kidney failure, I mean, they are the people who fail to take care of their molecular machinery well. And you guys are supposed to be, university students, and you guys are supposed to understand these things much better than the other people. And this is something which is given to you. It is your choice how long you can take it. For next 50 years, for next 100 years. And in case of complex structures like humans, biology is like more than machinery, by the way. I'm just relating it with the machinery. Biology has more, interconnections and interdependencies. Losing one simple thing in biology means losing everything, by the way. The person is healthy, but he failed to deal with one particular thing. Without kidneys, no life. Without heart, no life. Without lungs, no life. Without skin, no life. Person is healthy. Allah na kare skin jal gayi, 75%. Person will be dead. Not because of the physical structures. All the structures are fine, but the skin, sweating, and the other hemostasis करने के function, that will be lost. So that ये बड़ी अजीब सी बात है, मुझसे कभी भी लोग पूछते हैं इस टॉपिक पे कि ये जो complexity है ना, it's a blessing or not. I mean, it's a very sort of balanced type of thing. The complexity gives you a chance to do wonderful things, to do higher order stuff, like advanced things, like advanced intelligence. But that complexity will also give you more reasons to die, because it's so much interdependent with each other. So the ultimate end of any individual will be, now think about a science fiction scenario. If we allow a living body, human body, that not to live in a stress at all, stress factor deal kar lete hain. Give them the perfect food, perfect nutrients, which are absolutely required for the growth of the person at that age, with that much amount of that many number of cells, that many amount of mass he is carrying, exact nutrients. And if we remove perfectly all the unwanted material from the body of that person as well, would you believe that person will going to live longer than us? Because all these factors are actually reducing our capacity to control the function of the genes. So that is the philosophy behind the cancer. So if you want to deal with cancer, if you deal that cancer with, if you're thinking there will be a cure, like somebody will came with a capsule, an injection or a pill, this is the solution of cancer, you are not there to understand the concept of cancer. You're not there. This is not. You need to help your body to avoid to reach that state where we will going to lose the control on the expression of genes. आप मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं हम क्या करेंगे आने वाले दिनों में? In the upcoming years, what we will be doing is that the more we develop our society, the more control on nutrients and metabolism and lifestyles will be better. If it is better, toxins will be reduced. For example, अगर हम अच्छा grow करें, अच्छी society को evolve करें, we will increase our lifespan. The increase जो कि हमारे सामने है, obvious है, third world countries में lifespan 50 to 70 के दरमियान में, developed countries के अंदर जो life expectancy है 90 to 105 के दरमियान में, and that big, it's a big difference. 30 साल 40 साल, I mean it's a hell of the life you are living extra enough. तो जो मर गया उसके हिसाब से तो वो immortality है ना, the person who is going to live like the next 40 years. And why it is happening? Because they able to contain the factors which are actually compromising the control of gene expression. If we able to do things better, if you ask me, क्या उनकी society में toxins नहीं होते? होते। क्या वहाँ पर stress नहीं होता है? होता है। क्या वहाँ पर बाकी component होते हैं? But they are much less than us. If they able to fix it, eventually what will happen? They will be able to increase their lifespan for more than 100 years. I can guess, I can tell you, I don't know. I do believe, I don't know is not a good word. I do believe that from 100 years from now, we might be able to live for 200 years. That will be very common for most countries in the world because of the advancement which we are having at this time. मैंने इसका आंसर वैसे कर दिया है. Because there are internal reasons. It's a good question कि why babies develop cancer then. मैं ये example अक्सर देता हूँ, मुझे अच्छी लगती है, इसलिए मैं दोबारा दे रहा हूँ. Okay. So आपका नाम क्या है? आयशा ने और मैंने एक ही किस्म की bicycle purchase किया. We purchased exactly same brand, same bicycle, same height, everything is same. Both purchased the same bike from the same store, from the same manufacturer. आयशा अपने घर लेगी, मैं अपने घर लेगी. I am using the bike. She is using the bike, but she is taking care of the bike as well. But I am not taking care of the bike in that way, and I'm not using it in a friendly way. Obviously, what will happen that from 1 year from now on, her bike will going to be very healthy as compared to my bike. That's the one reason. Now think, if Aisha's bike has some built-in problem, an error from the manufacturer, if there is a fault in her stars, I'm sorry to use this word, the error is out there, genetical error out there. If the error is in the bicycle, no matter how well she is going to take care of the bicycle will going to be sick very soon. Depending on the nature of the error, for example, in case of Philadelphia chromosome, the error is there in the blood generating cells. So that means the blood will not going to be normal. It may be out of control, like in few years, the kids might develop blood cancers. So it depends the error. Obviously, आप देख लें दोनों ने नई बाइक लिया, but the built-in error make it very difficult for her to. But there is a thing which we call as management. If you can't control it, if you can't, क्या वो जुमला बड़ा famous है, if you can't compete it, if you can't defeat them, join them, है ना? इसी तरह का है ना, एक very famous saying है, if you can't defeat them, अगर आप उनको हरा नहीं सकते, join them. लेकिन in case of cancer, if you can't kill the cancer, if you can't deal with the cancer, how to manage the cancers? So इस case में हम क्या सीखते हैं कि it's inevitable the person. How about managing it? हम इसको manage कैसे करते हैं? How we can give extra good quality years of life to those people? It's a different topic. But can you understand the logic? If you have this concept right, you should be able to interpret all versions of cancer. You will see one way or another. You can relate it with the other diseases, and you might be able to think about life in a very different. I wish. Okay. So these are the obvious reasons, and you can guess. See, जो हमें सबसे ज़्यादा लगती हैं, वो नहीं है. The biggest reason of cancer out there, from 30 to 35%, is unbalanced diet. Oh my God. When you put something into your body, कुछ खाते हैं into your digestive system, when you drink something, you are actually adding things to your biology, and you are not sure what that thing is. You are actually putting your system in a lot of trouble. Up to we stay healthy, so that is why we believe it's all fine. But you have no idea your body is working so hard every day to keep you in a healthier state, in a healthy state. How much resources your body is compromising because you are taking, आज भी गंदा पानी पी लिया, कल भी पी लिया, अच्छा वो कहेगी यार मैंने कल तुझे मैनेज किया इतनी मुश्किल से, आज भी अनहाइजीनिक फूड ट्राई किया, कल भी ट्राई किया, परसों भी ट्राई किया, the body is consuming. And at this particular age which you guys are living, we manage to deal with most of these things, so we feel it is okay, everything is fine, we're not, I mean, if we are not dying we are fine, if we are not sick we are fine. But that is not the thing you should understand. If you're not sick, that means your body is winning the war on that day. Help your body not to have a very fierce type of battle. When you drink toxic water, unhealthy water or food, you actually put your body into a bigger trouble, and that can lead to a loss as well. There are so many factors which are controlling the expression of genes. I tried to summarize in this class. So many factors which are controlling the expression. I wish I should be able to teach you guys about cancer one day, someday. You came to know how many different factors are out there which are controlling that one thing. तब आपका सवाल आयशा जी होगा, why we develop cancer? I mean, people are wondering. This is the topic. How we develop cancer? Cancer कहाँ से होता है? Then your question will be like this: why we don't develop cancer? Why we don't have cancer today? I mean, there's so many factors which are controlling the perfect expression of gene, and we are putting that thing into a lot of trouble every day, and still we are able to survive on that day. We are not developing cancer today or tomorrow. So why most of us are able to save themselves from cancer? It's a bigger question. That's what we call it the big question. It's not about how we develop cancer. Why not we develop cancer? That's a छोटी सी example. No, online guys, if you disconnect because of the time, please use the same link, okay, to connect with me once again. Okay, I'm sorry guys, I missed you guys. I wish you able to understand. I mean, I'm not talking about other things as well. That's also sorry, but this is very important for you. This will going to help you for the rest of your life. So not having cancer is a bigger question. That, I mean, we are like so many reasons to develop cancer. So many reasons to develop cancer. And that is a bigger question you should ask yourself every other day. In terms of if you are studying cancer, cell cycle regulation, metabolic regulations, problems created because of the infectious agents, problems created by the bacteria and viruses, problems you are creating by yourself. Sometimes you people are acting like a virus and bacteria for your body. एक छोटी सी बात का ध्यान ना करके you are actually putting your body into that much trouble. So if you understand the philosophy behind that cancer, you will be able to understand if we want to curb this thing. अगर हमें इसे खत्म करना है, what we need to do? What we need to do? How we will be able to? अब आपको समझ आ रही है? अगर there is a reason like a bacteria, a bug, or a blockage of vein, that makes sense to a disease. We can fix it. Bacteria वजह है, we can remove the bacteria. Blockage वजह है, we can fix the blockage physically, surgically. But what about the disease which will about to happen sooner or later? If we fix it today, that it will going to appear tomorrow. And that is why cancer is a disease of rich countries. We don't care about cancer, we're dying from the other diseases. We're dying from that other disease.